Hey, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friend, favorite content creator. Nothing's different. I didn't switch cameras or anything like that. You're being delusional. But I want to talk to you guys about something that's been bothering me for a while. Length. Don't you guys feel lately that we've been focused way too much on length? We look at video games in terms of how long is it, right? And then you have these marketing execs who are like, hey, we're going to promote this game and it's going to be over 100 hours of content, 80 hours of content, 120 additional hours of content, so many hours of content. But what is the content? Does having a lot of something make it automatically better? Now, over the weekend, I was streaming Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma Black Remake 2025, featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. No, I was playing that game a lot, and one of the conversations that came up was talking about just like the length of games. We were talking about like older games, and I brought up the Order 1886 because one of the biggest criticisms of that game is once it kind of starts to get going, it's over. It's a short game. I think it's like around 8 to 10 hours. And that was used as a detrimental factor for the game lack of success. And I was thinking 8 to 10 hours sounds pretty good, no? Like, granted, I know people aren't going to want to pay $60 or now $70 or potentially $100 for a game that's like 10 hours long. But since when did we start measuring games' worth by its duration? Again, I understand you're not going to be able to sell a game that's an hour long for $60, right? Well, let's step out of the realm of reality for a second. Let's imagine that 1 hour is the most transcendental hour you've ever experienced in your life. It has put you on a journey you didn't think possible. You were having experiences you thought only could be made in dreams, and they made that a reality. But it lasts only 1 hour. Is that not a good game experience? Like, are we not in it for the experience? Are we just in it for the length? Because from what I can tell, whenever a game boasts that has 150,000 hours of content, or it's, it's the biggest game in the world, we took the real world and we put it in a game, there's not much to it other than the ooh wow factor, right? I know you guys have played games that supposedly have literal hundreds of hours of content, and the content is cookie cutter or it's repetitive. And yes, there are exceptions. Hello, Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, and literally anything the Witcher 3's ever put out. But that is the exception, not the rule. What's wrong with having a tight 10, 12-hour game? I mean, hell, most horror games are fit around that range. But if we could expand that to like action games, adventure games, action-adventure games, hell, even an RPG, if it's really, really, really good. Because I was thinking like YouTube videos, for example. You click on a YouTube video, you see it's like an hour and 40 minutes long. Now, typically those are like retrospective videos, video essays, deep dives, what have you. But if we just focus on the length, do you think that video is going to be a banger? Is it a banger because it's over an hour long? Because it's the video essay, does it have to be over an hour long? I did an analysis video that was like 20 minutes. Did pretty well, at least for me. But I see YouTubers all the time where it's like, here's a 6-hour retrospective, here's a 15-hour retrospective, here's a 4-hour retrospective, or here's a 3-hour deep lore dive. I'm going to explain to you the ins and outs of this analog horror series, or this retro game, or this current game. And while I appreciate the effort that went into it, a part of me thinks that's too long. It's too long. These games that take an average of like 80 to 100 hours to beat, too long. And again, I can hear the argument saying, yeah, but there's so much stuff to do. But then I was kind of with, but is there? Is there a lot to do? Games are finite. There's only so much you can put into a game. You can have these big, huge, open expanses, but if they're just big, huge, empty, open expanses, I would much rather have a smaller, more curated experience. Like, I love the semi-open world structure so much, I love zones so much because you can put so much stuff in that area and it always feels like you're finding something new. And like, it makes you want to explore everything. But whenever I see those games where it's like, here's a big giant map, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like Starfield, for example. You go on a planet, granted, I haven't played in a long time, but you go on a planet, it's massive. And you can land here and then walk all over, but it's not much happening on the actual planet. It's big, it's content. You can fly to like Pluto or whatever, like Alana did, even though it's just like a PNG of the planet. You can fly there though. That's stuff to do. That's content. But is it filling content? I could make this video 30 minutes long. I could repeat myself. I could say it in different language. I could do all these extra things to really pad out the runtime of this video. But you'd start to feel it. The video would drag on. But I'm like, hey, but I gave you guys a 30-minute video for free. All it cost was a little bit of your time, 30 minutes of it. You didn't have to pay for anything or anything like that. And you can watch this video in bunches. You can do whatever you want with it. I'm giving you a great value. But am I really? If what I could have said could have been said in 2 minutes, why stretch that out by an additional 28? If the game holds up and it's a tight 8 to 10 hours, that should be enough. Why are we stretching it out to 30, 40, 50 hours? Is it like, do you get paid more if it's a longer game? I don't understand. Some of the best gaming experience I've had just last year were games that were like sub 4 hours. Mouthwashing comes to mind. Not a very long game. A game slightly longer than Mouthwashing was still not very long. 1,000 Nights Resist. I mean, Balacho is as long as you want it to be, really. But like, we have so many games that are proving that they don't have to be extremely long to be worth it. But for some reason, especially in the AAA space, we think not only do games have to cost $1 trillion, but they must last at minimum 100 hours. If you can't squeeze 100 hours of content from it, what's even the point? The point is to make a game that is good, to make a game that is concise, that has a clear vision. I have not played a AAA game that was like, we have 9,000 hours of content, and the content was all filling. It was mostly fluff. It is cookie cutter, rescue this person, let's swap out the palette, rescue them again. Oh, go find this thing, and you're gonna fight these monsters that were like boss enemies 2 zones ago. Oh, but this time it's different because we randomly generated it. That gives you more content too. This procedurally generated, you're never going to end all the content all the time, baby. We're just going to be 1,000-hour long games doing the same shit. And I get so sick of it. I don't know, maybe I get more cynical, but we should move past judging a game's value solely based on the length of the game. If a game was a minute long, and again, this is some mind-blowing shit. Like it's never been done before. It is the most unique experience you could ever have. It's 1 minute and it costs like $50. I think that'd be worth it. Maybe I'm insane, but I think that'd be worth it. What do you guys think? Am I weird for thinking that like we're focusing way too much on the length of stuff and not necessarily about the quality of it? Like I have seen so many games, again, 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours. This game is so long, it has so much stuff to beat. The average completion time is 80 hours, and that's just speed running. It's like, that's insane to me. 80 hours is a long time. That is more than the average work week. That's long. That's actually the work period for most people. But that's just me.